Ta-da! I'm here and I'm live. Welcome to all of you who are joining on this JoyTunes webinar. I'm Dr. Mario Ajero, Associate Professor of Piano at Stephen F. Austin State University. And this is the first webinar that I'm doing. It's not, I guess, your traditional webinar in that it's more like a YouTube live broadcast. And we have a chat room here if you want to participate here. We got Linda Christensen in the chat room as well, helping me to make sure that everything's working out great. Oops, uh-oh, let me mute that there. I'm watching myself and I'm on delay here, so nonetheless, oh wait, let me get out of that here. So Linda, if you wouldn't mind just keeping me tabs, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat room and comments, and if y'all have any questions, I'm gonna leave some time. My talk will go probably about 30 minutes long, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them here in the chat area here on the YouTube live stream. Also, if there happen to be any technical problems, because this is the first time I'm trying some of these setups with my Wirecast Studio and also the various other things that I'm going to be showing through online video. If there are any technical problems and we have to cut things early, I'll have an archive. I'm also recording this, so I'm just going to kind of keep rolling along here. And if you happen to lose the broadcast for any particular reason, this will be posted on my YouTube channel immediately after we're all done here. And you can subscribe to me at youtube.com/MarioCast if you're not already done so, have already done so already. Also, if you want my email address, sorry, I probably should have prepared this on screen, but it's ajeromp@sfasu.edu. So if you happen to have lost a certain part and say, oh, where can I get the replay of this webinar, I'll be happy to direct that to your attention here. All right. Let's see. I just want to make sure I've got everything going here. Oh, good evening from the UK. Thank you, Maggie George, who's chatting it up here. I'm glad to see that we have people from both sides of the pond. What was I saying as far as the YouTube is concerned? Also, if you happen to lose the feed or have to leave early, you could always check with the JoyTunes website and the JoyTunes social media to see where you can get the replay of this particular broadcast and webinar. So I've been fortunate to become pretty well known in the piano teaching circles for a few things. One is the incorporation of technology in my teaching, and that interest in technology stemmed off into making some of these video lesson tutorials. Those of you who may be subscribed to my YouTube channel may have seen some of those already. Those that had particular pop music riffs featured usually gained a lot of significant amount of popularity on my video podcast and now my YouTube channel. But also it helped me discover that a less traditional pedagogical approach to teaching piano music that was effective regardless of the genre that I was teaching, whether it was pop music or classical music there. So, and some of these pedagogical techniques are in play with what we do as teachers already, but we just never really realize, oh wow, we do it so much when teaching popular music, we could apply that in other genres as well. And I've also had the opportunity to try some of these pedagogical techniques, specifically with my own two children. I have two kids. One, his name is Antonio, or we call him Neo for short. He's 11 years old. And I also have a 6-year-old daughter, Olivia. And so far, the techniques that I've used with them has resulted in a lot of success in their music education, even at their young ages here. So, and one aspect of their music education that has made my kids stand out in a way is the way that I've struck a balance between their study of both classical music and also popular music. Now, why popular music? Let's see if those transitions work okay. I think they work okay. Well, we choose our favorite music because of how it can make us feel. I think often parents don't realize how much influence that we have over our children's musical tastes. One of the ways that popular music maybe resonates with kids much more so than other genres is that the lyrics are usually clear in spelling out what that artist is feeling, and kids can kind of relate to that. Not just kids, but adults as well, or people who might not have a really formal musical training. So that makes it really easily relatable. There are common chord progressions that are found in popular music that are really easily memorable for a lot of students. I don't know how many of you know the book by Daniel Levitin. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. This Is Your Brain on Music. He mentions in his book there that by the age of 5, infants have learned to recognize chord progressions in music of their culture. So they're already hearing some of those chord changes, and I've seen that already into play even with my young kids at this early age of age 5 and age 6 of what they were able to do there. It's funny, I was teaching chord progressions in my group piano classes here at Stephen F. Austin State University. We were doing the, what is it, the 1, 6, it's in minor. Doing that chord progression, and I was asking them to transpose it into all different keys. And I teach in a Yamaha piano lab. We have both Clavinovas and DGX 640 portable grand pianos in there, and they some of those pianos have these auto accompaniment styles, so that you can do these like pop arrangements, and there's this virtual band that will follow your chord changes. Like we were doing it in B minor. I forgot which one I picked. It was like the soul beat accompaniment style. I'm sorry I didn't like record it, but it was so funny because there was like these congas going on and this bass line and guitars going on there. And I thought, you know what, that sounds vaguely familiar here, and I switched the piano sound to a guitar sound and started playing, you know, a little bit on that chord progression, or at least a variation of it, doing like the B minor. And everyone could recognize that was like the Hotel California, you know. And all of a sudden, that their faces lit up there when they realized, oh wow, that chord progression that we're learning here in class is just like what we're, you know, like some of the songs that we want to hear. I mean, who doesn't like Hotel California there? I won't do my Don Henley impression there. I'll save you all the embarrassment of that there. So, but still, a lot of the chord progressions that we learn in pop music there, I mean, one is like, oh wow, if you just know a few chords there, then there's a lot you can accomplish. Just today, someone responded on one of my YouTube videos. I think I was teaching the it was one of my videos where I was teaching the theme from Up. I forgot now how it goes. Yeah, and someone had left a comment. He said that, you know, that was a really great video there because I don't read music at all, but I was able to follow the chords that you do and follow by rote what you were playing. So we're able to reach a whole audience of students here by just tapping into this this collection of popular music there that resonates so well with the general population here. So. Another reason why popular music I think is particularly valuable is the repeated melodic patterns. Maybe we get a little bit sick of it here, but I know from my personal experience with my own family, we have really long road trips here in Texas. We're in Nacogdoches, which is like 2 hours, 2.5 hours probably from Houston, Texas, and 3 hours from Dallas, Texas. So it takes a long time to get anywhere here, and we're on these long road trips going wherever we want. So. And frankly, whenever I put some classical music on to play in the car, that would probably put the kids to sleep there. But however, if I put a little bit of Katy Perry or the band Fun on there, then you see the way that the kids are actively listening to the music here. and I'll go back on some of those repeated melodic patterns, and with that repetition builds up a certain familiarity with the music, and they're developing a lot of aural skills that we don't even realize is happening. At least they're not doing it proactively there, but it's kind of just seeping into their brains. There's something really with their brains when it's on music there. There's a lot of pop music that is in 4/4 time. So more children experience those easy to feel beats, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, more prevalent, and it makes their sense of pulse become a lot more prevalent in their performance. And I've seen it that, you know, wow, when I introduce a lot of popular music and playing along with some of these auto accompaniment styles and MIDI accompaniments, then they really do have a better sense of pulse and rhythm as they go through it here. All right. Change the slide here. Let's see if this works. Yay, it does work. All right. So my dissertation at the University of Oklahoma dealt with the effect of computer-assisted instruction technology and MIDI accompaniments on group piano students' performance. Now, while we weren't necessarily focusing on popular music in the study, there's a lot that I think we could learn from it. Particularly in my literature review, most of the research studies showed that practicing with some sort of external rhythmic stimulus improved the students' rhythmic accuracy and their continuity as well. All right, so we can learn a lot that, and the ways that I've used the external rhythmic stimuli to instill a sense of pulse and rhythm in my students include, obviously there's the metronome. It's probably not the most appealing way, but it's still a sense of feeling a certain beat that is important in someone's performance. I play a lot of duets. If you go on one of my channels, on my YouTube channel, there's a really popular video that I have entitled How to Start Piano Lessons for Preschool Children, and I documented a lot of the early activities that I did with Olivia when she was only like 3 or 4 years old. And we do a lot of just a lot of oompa, 1/5 accompaniments while she's playing something as simple as hot cross buns, hot cross buns. But she gets to feel an external rhythmic source there that she can kind of listen to and gravitate towards, and hopefully make her a better listener, and I think have some pretty strong evidence that she is a pretty good listener in that regards here, okay? Playing with recordings, MIDI accompaniments. MIDI accompaniments, I'm really a strong proponent in using MIDI accompaniments. Even to this day here, I love using a lot of the MIDI accompaniments. The advantage of our MIDI accompaniments over a lot of digital audios is that with a MIDI player, you can speed up and slow down and transpose the music. I know you can still do it with some digital audio, but then once you get further away, like a really slow tempo or a really fast tempo or a really far out key, you start hearing some degradation in the digital audio quality, even in these advanced programs like JoyTunes, Piano Maestro, where sometimes the audio quality sometimes gets a little bit shaky when you get really far away from those particular tempos. With MIDI accompaniments, it's all binary code, and it's all, you know, it doesn't really matter how fast or how slow you go. You'll always get the same experience as far as that's concerned. And it makes them feel like they're part of a bigger musical making experience. A lot of teachers ask me, well, what apps do you use for playing MIDI accompaniments? I like to use a lot of the MIDI accompaniments from method books. Like, I'm a big fan of Philip Kevern's pieces, those that come with the Hal Leonard student piano library. Christopher Norton, he has that American Popular Piano series where there's a lot of popular styles, but with MIDI accompaniments. And also, I love his Christopher Norton connections. There's some really great popular style stuff along with the MIDI accompaniments that students get to play with here. Let me show one here. As far as I'm sorry, I didn't even mention the apps that I'm doing here. Oh, someone said it's late. Becky is in the house. Hey, Becky. Becky, fellow Texan. Yay, hi. So, sorry, I can do that here when it's live, I guess. But what was I saying? Oh, the MIDI apps that I like to use. Some of my favorite MIDI apps are Synthesia. Synthesia is a free app in that it will play the MIDI files that are built within the app there, and you can connect it to your iPad, or there's also a Mac and PC version where you can slow down and speed up MIDI files that the student plays along with. It's free, but then in order for you to use any MIDI app, like those that are found with the Hal Leonard series or the Alfred series or the anything else that has a standard MIDI file format, you do have to pay an in-app purchase. I haven't checked in a while, but I think it was really cheap. It was like $4.99 for just to have that particular capability. But you can play around with the built-in MIDI apps for free, and that's, I think, synthesiagame.com, those of you who are interested in Synthesia. Let me show you a little bit of Synthesia here. This is, I think, about a year and a half ago of Olivia playing this piece entitled School Is Out by Barbara Gallagher. I think it comes from the Hal Leonard Student Piano Library, one of the piano solos. And you could use it as both just a regular MIDI player that's not connected to your piano. You can just have it as an accompaniment that speeds up or slow down. But it also is computer-assisted instruction technology in that it will grade her performance on whether she's playing the right notes and also the right rhythms at the particular time that the MIDI file is sequenced in. So let me let you hear what that sounds like, or see what that sounds like. So usually when I'm in the live presentations, then all the ladies in the audience go "aw" or something. So if you want to go "aw" in the chat room there, you're welcome to do so there. But anyway, that was again Synthesia. Barbara Gallagher, that's from the Hal Leonard Student Piano Library. I can't remember exactly which book. I think it's from book 5, the piano solos. Lots of really well sequenced popular style music, and I'm always looking for when students aren't necessarily ready for some of the popular music that's out there, that maybe it's a little bit more complicated. We try to find some parallels, and I think the Hal Leonard does a really good job. Christopher Norton does a really wonderful job, and lots of other composers there. I know Daniel McFarlane has composed some really wonderful stuff that my kids enjoy playing as well. So let me move on to, and we'll talk more about the computer-assisted instruction a little later on when we get to how I use Piano Maestro with my students as well. And also digital audio in addition to that. Another, by the way, I needed to mention one more MIDI app that I like to use a lot. There is Home Concert Extreme. The built-in MIDI sounds for the iPad aren't really great. Synthesia actually I think they pay for a license to use this Voice Crystal sound set to use with their app that makes it sound really good, even if you don't have a general MIDI piano. But I usually have a piano that has general MIDI sounds, like my Yamaha disc clavier here in my office, or the Clavinovas there. Actually at home I have the hybrid piano, the NU1 hybrid piano, which doesn't have a general MIDI sound set, so sometimes I'm tapping into the MIDI sounds. Someone asked on the iPad Piano Teachers group earlier that there was was there another general MIDI sound set, I do recommend the Roland Sound Canvas app that you could use as a general MIDI device for your iPad. And if that doesn't make any sense, feel free to contact me and I'll try to talk more details about that there. But Home Concert Stream, again, is a really great app, and maybe on a future webinar I'll cover that in more detail here. But let's talk about music notation. Music really is at its core an oral tradition, but historically notation became a necessity due to the growing complexity of music. And one of the weaknesses that I find with many piano students is that the focus of their learning process is on identifying the individual notes on the staff, especially in the early stages. And I think that really hurts, I shouldn't say hurts, but at least it hinders their musicality, or at least it distracts them from some, I think, other aspects of their musicality that we need to put some precedence on, such as feeling the beat and being able to play with a certain sense of style and not being so restricted to the notes on the score here. So while music literacy is important, I think stressing maybe reading too much in lessons is what handcuffs a lot of those students in being musical. So both of my kids have learned a lot of their music by rote and ear initially, but we stay in touch with the notation to a certain degree as well here. There's so many tools at our disposal to address music's complexity and simplicity this day that we can support the students learning by rote and ear much more today than we may have when these particular technology wasn't around, recording technology. So I think it's helped us regain a perspective that music's focus should be on the art of sound, and not necessarily focused on the traditional notation. So what I want to do is show a couple videos of Olivia playing some pop tunes with Piano Maestro, and you'll notice how some of the rhythms and syncopations are with this. Here, let me see if I could find the screenshot that I have of where's the best day of my life. Everyone knows this best day of my life here. Look at some of the complex rhythms there that are going as far as the syncopations. To be honest, I don't think Olivia even realizes or knows what syncopations are. If I told her, watch out for the syncopations, she just sees them and plays them there. But it doesn't matter because she's heard them and she's experienced them and she's doing them. I used to really hate the way that the music in Piano Maestro scrolled across the screen. But I realized, though, that it added another dimension to the music there, where she makes the connection between the rhythmic notation and how it sounds based off of when it passes through that lightsaber thingy, whatever that is actually called here. But enough of me talking here. Let me just have her do the talking for me and show how she plays through some of that stuff here. If I can find the video file here. Here we go. Sorry to cut her off there, but so you see how she's able to, she really does understand how those rhythms go on the notation. You notice that she is looking at the music and making that connection that we want between the notation and what she's already heard and experienced, because she's heard that song a whole bunch of times. She's watched the video a whole bunch of times as well. See You Again is another one of her favorites. That, again, if you look at some of these rhythms here, this is just the rapping part of Wiz Khalifa with his duet with Charlie Puth, I think was his name here. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but there you see some of the rhythms that she's dealing with here, but she really doesn't have any problem with it, with this, by listening to the piece and also getting that feedback from Piano Maestro in order to handle it as well here. So here's her with the See You Again. Excuse me. Oh, feedback here. So I hope that gave you a little sense of the rhythm there. Some of you may have noticed there that she was kind of improvising a little bit on the left-hand chords for that particular chord progression on the See You Again in that part of the piece. It's actually in the Piano Maestro arrangement. It just does whole notes, some kind of long notes there at that point there, and then I encouraged her to maybe improvise a little bit and maybe just try doing it with some different rhythms. And we actually kind of made a game out of it here, and this might be something you might want to try with your students here. I encouraged her to play those rhythms to kind of imitate what I did there, but then soon she started doing the same improvisations over and over again, and I would go on my second piano and I would try to play the exact same rhythm that she would do there. So then she would want to try to do something different from what I would do and try to fool me in such a way here. I think it's here. Let me see if I can find the happy, the happy by Pharrell Williams. The left hand is just all these perfect fifths held for whole notes there, but in order to make it a little bit more interesting, you know, why not play something that kind of goes along with the beat there? So what you're going to see in this next video is she's already developed this vocabulary of different rhythms that she can improvise with it there, and I'm on the second piano. If you can hear it, if you listen carefully, it's the piano that's out of tune. And what she does is she tries to fool me by playing a different rhythm than what I think she's going to play there. So she tries to go out of sync with me here. So hope you'll enjoy this particular happy video. Okay, so again, lots of opportunities to improvise, and that's kind of the beauty of popular music, is that the music notation, even though as great as arrangements as those are in Piano Maestro, that's not etched in stone there. You can play around with it, and I love it there because at least in this particular environment, she's not penalized, I don't think. At least I didn't notice. We're not really keeping track of the scores at this point, to be honest there. She's just having a whole lots of fun improvising there. But with popular music, you have that sense of freedom where you can kind of just play, kind of jam away, even if it's something as simple as just changing the rhythms up a little bit there. Try to look for ways with your students that you can improvise different rhythms, and then maybe she's even gotten into improvising on some scales there as well here. So where do I want to go to next here? How much time oh my gosh, it's already 11:30. Let me try to move things along here pretty well, but I do have some flexibility. Hopefully you guys have some flexibility as well here. Focus on sounds, yeah. So listen to learn. So it's funny how we've kind of gone in this circular approach to music, where I think maybe a particular time in music history, the delivery of information as far as music is concerned was really rooted in music notation. But now we can focus on the sound and make the students better listeners. All right, listen to learn. In the book, This Is Your Brain on Music, the author actually pondered how accurate is the average person's musical memory. And I think either he or someone else did an experiment where they would ask people to sing back certain folk tunes and other familiar tunes like Happy Birthday, and it was funny how their pitch recognition was always shaky due to no definitive recording for them to refer to, because you could sing Happy Birthday and whatever. You've tried singing Happy Birthday. Let's all sing Happy Birthday together. Happy Birthday, or happy. Yeah, people in all sorts of different keys there. But then when you pick a particular song that everyone's heard the same recording of, let's say Taylor Swift singing the Shake It Off. So then a lot of the average people could actually sing pretty close to pitch on a lot of familiar pop songs that had these recordings there. So there's really something to be said as far as the listening to a lot of this pop music where there are some definitive recordings made by the artist, by his or herself there. Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon is another one in Piano Maestro, but then I think it was in the key of C there. Usually JoyTunes does a pretty good job. I forgot the keys that it's in there, but it's in the key of C major there, and but the video of the song is originally in C sharp, and Olivia has heard the song and watched the video enough that she was actually able to transpose it. And I wanted to show a little bit of that video here, and she's not playing with the Piano Maestro. I think she's just playing with Vivo, or maybe I think we downloaded it from the iTunes or Apple Music music video store. So I'll try to play this, and hopefully YouTube won't get angry at me. Okay, so again, I have to confess that I've been working with her on transposition ever since she was even 3 or 4 years old there. You know, it all started really with hot cross buns there. We would learn it first on the black keys. And she would get really good at that there, but then we would move into other keys. So encouraging your students to transpose there, and sometimes they just get motivated because, you know, the Piano Maestro app doesn't have that shut up and dance in the key of C sharp. Not that I'm aware of, at least they could probably change that real soon here. But it's a really nice adventure and learning experience there where you say, oh wow, you can't really play along with the music video or the song downloaded from iTunes there. So we're going to have to transpose it here. So it gives them a nice goal or objective to actually put some of those transposition skills at work here, right? And I think the good news is that the focus on the ear in pop music helps prepare them for ear training tests without even realizing it. She hasn't taken any of the Royal Conservatory exams, but I anticipate maybe having her do one this year, maybe the level 5. She's kind of around that way with the repertoire. The music theory is probably not quite up to the level 5 basic rudiments yet, but I've been going through the 4-star sight reading books. If you don't know, these 4-star sight reading books and ear training books by Boris Berlin and Markow, I think, are the authors. She's been doing pretty darn good, I'd say, in playing the intervals, you know, listening and doing the ear training on the intervals, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to a lot of the stuff that we've done with the popular music here. I'm going to play some intervals, and then I want you to say what they are to me.
G, E, third.
Correct.
D, G, fifth.
Correct.
E, E, octave.
Correct.
F, A, third.
This is melody playback. I'm going to play a chord, the tonic chord once, and then I'm going to play the melody twice, and then you have to play it back to me on your piano, okay? What's this?
F major.
Right. Is it 4/4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your turn. Correct. What's this chord? Okay, so we've been doing a lot of that ear training a lot there, but you know, not really intensively as one might think there. And I think a lot of it has to do with the pop music. A lot of people say, well, it must be hereditary. Both your kids have what seems like perfect pitch as far as that's concerned, and maybe it's hereditary, but I would like to think that what we've been doing up to this point here as far as the playing a lot of the pop songs and trying to match up with them there has really fine-tuned their listening skills in order that they're able to accomplish tasks just like that you would find on the Royal Conservatory ear training portions of the exams there, okay? What I want to finish the, because wow, time really does fly here. What I want to finish off the presentation with is how I apply a lot of the learning of music in Piano Maestro. What I love about the Piano Maestro is how it's sequenced and applies a lot of pedagogical techniques that, you know, sometimes we take for granted, and then if you learn from that, there's a lot of ways that you can overcome traditional repertoire that maybe aren't necessarily in Piano Maestro. Some of the things that we sometimes neglect is playing the one hand at a time, and maybe even playing the other hand while on your teacher piano or on the same piano while they're playing that hand. repeating it 3 times in a row correctly. The fact that repetition breeds this sense of familiarity and sense of security, and piecing together smaller bites into larger chunks. How Piano Maestro takes the small segments of it there and makes a lot, has you do like the whole first part in the learn mode, and then how it's still connected to notation to promote the literacy of reading music at the notation. So it's still, I'm not saying to abandon the music notation, but we can help support it by learning them in conjunction with one another. This is her she's working on a Beethoven sonatina in F major, I think. This is the one that we're doing. And I'll let this roll for maybe just a couple minutes here, because I know some of you probably have to go here, but I try to highlight in some subtitles here some of the things that I do to promote what we're doing in Piano Maestro in this traditional repertoire. Back to again. So some of the things that I wanted to clarify as far as that's concerned, when she didn't quite play that section the way that it was, I kind of equated it to the not a full star. You know how on Piano Maestro it has that drum roll and the star builds up, but then there's no applause there. I've actually found some of those awkward silences there where you don't respond to anything. Sometimes that speaks already volumes, or at least she seemed to be trained that way there through Piano Maestro, that when there's no reaction, rather than you saying, "Oh, that wasn't very good there," or I don't even say anything there. She knows that, oh, I didn't have any applause or response from that there, so then she goes ahead and tries it all over again. And at the same time, at the end, yay, I give her a little bit of applause once she's done it at a satisfactory fashion. I actually have a little thing here with my disc clavier piano. Whenever a student plays something really good, I have loaded onto it actually within the piano, and it kind of freaks them out every once in a while because they don't realize that it's a disc clavier piano, and then I push this play button with my remote control and I said, "What? Hasn't your instrument ever applauded you before?" There, so, that's kind of. Hopefully, that gives you some ideas which you can use within your studio. I don't know if we have any time for questions here, but if you want to, let me just take a look in the chat room here. I like how Maggie George said she loves that she's looking at the music so well. Yeah, I think that's one of the neat positives as far as Piano Maestro is concerned, and any of the other iPad apps that display notation as you're playing along with it, their Home Concert Extreme and their new Super Score app that's going to be coming out shows a lot of really neat potential as far as that's concerned. But yeah, there's this kind of neat effect there that students, I tend to see a lot of my students, not just my own kids, but other students as well, keeping their eyes on the music a whole lot more when they're playing in this environment where they have to play with the accompaniment, and also the music is kind of either scrolling or flipping pages automatically as they're going through the piece there as well here. All right, so I know we're on kind of like a tape delay there. Are there any other questions? I don't see any other things here in the chat room here, but you know, the beauty of this here is that I'm not too hard to find on the internet as far as getting in contact with me. If you want to see a replay of this or share it with your friends here, you could go to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Maricast. Go ahead and subscribe. And I also wanted to do a cheap plug for my two kids. They're also doing a recital. I've kind of gotten used to this whole live broadcasting thing through YouTube, and it's been pretty cool. And if any of you are interested in doing it in your own studio here, I can kind of help you as far as that's concerned. Maybe that's a future webinar in the future as far as that's concerned. Olivia is going to be doing her next solo recital, which includes some stuff from Piano Maestro, classical music like that Beethoven Sonatina. If we can get that together, I'm sure she will. And a whole bunch of other pieces. We'll be live streaming that on Thursday, October 8th at 6 p.m. Central Time. So if you subscribe to my channel, or if you want me to send you a link to that, you can. And then thinking even further down the road, Neo has a little larger of a program. He's not doing a lot of stuff with Piano Maestro these days here. He just finished his grade 9 Royal Conservatory exam this past spring and did really well on that there. So, but he has another solo recital coming up on Thursday, November 12th at 6 p.m. Central Time. And if you want to connect with me, my email address is, again, ajeromp@sfasu.edu. Or if you want to connect with me through various social networks, you can look at me on Twitter. Look me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle, I think, is MarioCast. And I'm also easily found on Facebook if we're not connected already, LinkedIn, and as I mentioned earlier, my YouTube channel. So hope you learned a lot from this experience, and if you ever have anything else that I can help you with your piano teaching or incorporation of technology or using pop music in your teaching, then let me know. Otherwise, have a nice weekend. Bye.